Let me ask you something real quick. You meet a woman. She's attractive, she's kind, she seems like everything you've been looking for. The conversations flow naturally. She laughs at the right moments. You start thinking, maybe this one is different. But then she mentions her past. A lot of men, a lot of relationships, some that lasted a week, some that didn't even get that far. Do you just ignore that, pretend it doesn't matter, smile and move on like you didn't hear what you just heard? Today, we're talking about body count. And we're going to be honest about it, the kind of honest that most people online don't have the courage to be. Now, before anyone gets upset, this isn't about shaming women. This isn't about tearing anyone down or acting like the past defines a person completely. This is about understanding what you, as a man, are allowed to feel and think when you're choosing a life partner. Because here's what nobody tells you. Your feelings are valid. Your preferences are valid. And asking questions about someone's past before committing your future, that is not toxic. That is not insecure. That is wisdom. And at a certain age, wisdom is the only thing that should be guiding your decisions. Let me paint you a picture. Meet David. He's 54, recently divorced, back in the dating world after 20 years. It's unfamiliar territory. He's a little rusty, but he's hopeful. He meets a woman named Sandra. They hit it off immediately. Great conversations. She makes him laugh in a way he hasn't laughed in years. He starts to think, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the person he gets to build the second chapter with. One evening, the topic comes up naturally. Sandra has been with over 30 men. Some were serious relationships. Most were not. David doesn't say anything in the moment. He keeps his composure. But something shifts inside him quietly. He doesn't fully understand why he feels unsettled, but he does. He can't shake it. Is David wrong for feeling that way? Absolutely not. Here's the truth that gets buried under political correctness and social pressure. Body count isn't just about sex. It's about pattern. It's about how a person approaches commitment. It's about whether they can bond deeply with one person over time, or whether they've spent years training themselves to move on quickly when things get hard or uncomfortable. There's a concept in psychology called pair bonding. The idea is that the more partners a person accumulates over time, the more difficult it can become for some individuals to form deep, lasting emotional attachments. The emotional investment gets spread thinner. The ability to stay and work through difficulty can weaken. Now, this isn't a universal law. It doesn't apply to every single person the same way. But it is a real pattern that researchers have studied and documented. And it is absolutely worth considering when you're deciding who you want to share your life with. Does that mean a woman with a high body count can never be a good partner? No. People grow. People change. Maturity changes people in ways that youth simply cannot. But you, as a man who wants a serious, committed, deeply connected relationship, you are allowed to factor this into your decision. You're not being cruel by doing that. You're not being cold. You're being careful. And at your stage of life, careful isn't fear. Careful is respect for yourself and for the relationship you're trying to build. Now meet Raymond. He's 61. He's been through one difficult marriage and came out the other side with hard-won lessons. He is not looking to repeat old mistakes. He's not bitter. He's just clear. He starts dating a woman named Patricia. Early on, he brings up the topic of past relationships, not in a harsh or accusatory way, but honestly and directly. He frames it as understanding, not interrogation. She tells him she's had 4 serious relationships and a handful of casual ones in her younger years. Raymond doesn't flinch. He doesn't judge immediately. Instead, he asks her what she learned from those relationships, what she regrets, what she wants now that she didn't know how to want back then. That single conversation told Raymond more about Patricia's character than 10 dinner dates ever could. He wasn't listening for a number. He was listening for self-awareness. He was listening for growth. He was listening for the kind of woman who has lived, reflected, and arrived at this point with intention. That's how you use the body count conversation, not as a weapon, but as a window into who someone actually is. So how do you handle this practically as a man? First, don't ask just to judge. Ask because you genuinely want to understand her relationship history and what she's carrying into this one. Come from curiosity, not a courtroom. Second, listen for accountability. A woman who can look back on her past with honesty and acknowledge where she grew, that is a genuinely good sign. A woman who immediately gets defensive, shuts the conversation down, or tells you it's none of your business before you've even gotten serious, that tells you something too. Pay attention to the reaction, not just the answer. Third, and this is the most important one, know your own standard. You do not owe anyone an apology for what you're willing to accept in a relationship. Nobody gets to guilt you out of your own values. A man who knows what he stands for is far more attractive, far more grounded, and far more protected than a man who ignores his gut to avoid an uncomfortable conversation. The world will tell you that caring about body count makes you insecure, old-fashioned, judgmental. People will say you have no right to ask, that the past is the past. But here's what I want to leave you with. The man who knows what he wants, asks the right questions, and refuses to settle for a relationship built on silence and assumptions, that man is not insecure. That man is not controlling. That man is selective. And selective men who lead with wisdom instead of desperation, build better relationships. Deeper ones. Ones that actually last. You've lived enough life to know what you want. You've been through enough to know what you don't want. You've earned the right to be selective. Don't let anyone talk you out of that. If this hit home, drop a comment below and tell me what resonated. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, a friend, a brother, someone starting over, share it with him. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.